Trunks, standing in the distance, staring at Vegito, dressed in a large dark coat with his signature sword draped around his chest. That is Trunks! Looking from far away though, eventually even Vegito is able to make out the silhouette, despite the distance, using his fatherly instinct to immediately recognize the facial features and signature purple hair. Now looking awestruck, the God Killer would remain silent momentarily, stunned without much to say, before muttering, "If this isn't an illusion, how did he survive the gods of destruction? Did Bulma somehow send him off just as they attacked? I wouldn't put it past the old girl." But while Vegito wonders how Trunks is here, the swordsman begins looking around with a sign of caution, disappointed as he thinks, "Damn it, I came just a few minutes too late. Looks like he's killed the god and angel of this universe already. There's not a sign or trace of them left, so Cronoa's warning must be true. This version of Vegito can erase someone completely from existence. I guess the only positive here is I got to him before he invaded another timeline." Trunks! But in complete contrast, as Trunks thinks on the destruction Vegito has caused, the God Killer cannot help but begin shedding tears, seeing his late son for the first time in over a decade. Someone he thought he lost, as he begins walking over to him and continuing, "My son! I can't believe it! I knew it! I just knew I couldn't be alone. There had to be someone who survived. I'm so glad it was you. I haven't seen you in so long. You look so grown. Get back and stay where you are, Vegito!" But instantly, on the eve of Vegito's second step forward, with extreme speed and precision, Trunks pulls out his sword and holds it in front of him, ready to attack at any moment. Leaving Vegito to not only stop in his tracks, but also be taken aback by the sudden hostility by who he believed was once his young son. As with a confused face, he asks, "Get back? Since when did you start addressing me like that, Trunks? Don't you know who I am? It's me, your father!" But Trunks, continuing to stare down the God Killer without emotion, would then finally reveal, "Listen, Vegito. I am Trunks, but I'm not your son. I'm from a completely different timeline, one where I had my own father and mother. But I was sent to fix all the problems you've caused and to put an end to your complete disregard for the timelines. I'm from the Time Patrol." What? Time Patrol? Causing Vegito to react in bemusement, never having heard of such a thing before, and also partially confused as to what Trunks even meant by his disregard for the timelines. But soon, Trunks, who is unfaltering, just then explains, "You really have no idea about the kind of damage you've been causing, do you? I haven't seen such recklessness like this since the androids. I thought I took some risks in the past, but you've been using those forbidden time rings to travel through time countless times. We don't even know for sure how many timelines you've affected by now, and each time you've thought nothing of your actions, or how they would affect the future of those universes. You went to Gero, destroying the androids, thinking you did the world a favor. But in the end, once you left, Gero used the data and DNA gained from you to create a cell so strong every Z fighter died as a result. Their universe only survived because Goku woke up and trained to become as powerful as a god himself. If you had killed Beerus there too, then I can only shudder at the thought of what would have ended up happening. You even took Goku's Senzu beans too, just before the Cell games, meaning Cell was never given one after fighting Goku, leaving an easy win for Gohan where he didn't even become a Super Saiyan 2. But changes like that have rippling effects, and now that universe has no knowledge of the second form, and they may struggle extra hard now once Babidi, Dabura and Boo arrive years later. And now, only a few hours ago, you killed one of the legendary 5. And with that done, you powered up in an explosion of strength, not even realizing that just meters away were the rest of the Z Fighters, including the Supreme Kai. It's not even known whether they're still alive. Without them, that means the end of Earth and that universe as they know it. Finally leaving a state of complete shell shock to the God Killer, as he for the first time hears of what his deeds in the past and future had done to all those involved, once he had left. I did that? The people of Earth, they died in these timelines because of me? Causing us slightly annoyed at his ignorance, Trunks to say back, yes, time is not something to mess with so frivolously. The natural order of life, the order of an entire universe, can be disrupted by a single change in time. I made that mistake once and paid for it in the end. The arrival of Black and the erasure of my entire universe by Zeno. That was indirectly all because of how I interfered with time. And what you've done is take that to a whole new level and multiple times. And we cannot stand for it anymore. You need to learn. Whatever must happen in a timeline has to be left to run its natural course at all costs. Natural course? At all costs? Causing Vegito to suddenly have something snap from within after hearing a certain line of thinking he just could not agree with. Until finally his face returns back to serious and he looks to his son in the eye and continues, time must be allowed to run its natural course, huh? So you're saying the warriors of Earth, Krillin, Yamcha, Piccolo, your own father, they should have all died to the androids then? So you should have never traveled to the past and got help. According to you, you should have stayed and died. And you're even saying then, when the 12 gods of destruction eventually arrive to erase everyone, I should be letting that happen in every timeline, huh? To which the cold, emotionless Trunks would simply just reply, yes, exactly that. Suddenly enraging the God Killer as he unceremoniously powers up in his base, extending his hand out, yelling out, unforgivable, Trunks! If stopping the deaths and erasure of my friends and family is considered wrong, then I don't want to be right! Stand in my way if you want to, Trunks, but if you're not my real son, as you say, then don't expect me to hold back! Blade! Come to me! Immediately then summoning the Blade of Destruction once again. But just as he does so, a hand appears to grab onto the handle. Alarming Vegito as he quickly turns his head in panic, thinking, what? Why isn't that thing responding to my commands? And standing there shockingly is revealed to be an older Goten, grabbing onto the Blade of Destruction and stopping it from moving any further. As the young Saiyan then says, this isn't going anywhere, Dad. Huh? Who the? But Vegito, who couldn't hear what Goten had said under his muttered breath, can only wonder, who are you? Is that a Saiyan? Of course, never having seen Goten grow up in his timeline. Wait! This key! Are you? But eventually things begin to click for the Fuse Saiyan, as his face opens wide in shock and he begins to realize, are you Goten? You can't be! But Goten, who doesn't share the same confusion, then adamantly replies, I'm surprised you even noticed, Vegito. Yeah, I am Goten, Dad. But just like Trunks, I'm from the Time Patrol, and from another timeline. I still see you as being part Goku, but this sword does not belong to you. You know it. This sword, those time rings, you yourself need to come back with us. This madness, it all needs to end here. The confirmation though of this figure being Goten, along with the rest of what he said, leaves Vegito near flabbergasted, as he steps back and says, whoa, this is all a lot. You look so different. You grew up a lot, Goten. But you're part of this group too, huh? So you're telling me they sent my own two sons, my own blood, to forcefully fight and take me in? Did the sick freak who thought of that plan think that would be the way to stop me? Who the hell even runs this little gang of yours? I think I need to pay them a little visit. To which, on hearing this, Trunks would then quickly just answer, that would be Kronoa, goddess of time. She leads the Time Patrol and chooses who goes on missions to stop and fix time disturbances. Me and Goten were selected for you not because of how we're related to Vegito, but because the two of us have grown to become two of the strongest. God! But the mention of Kronoa, the leader of the Time Patrol being a god, immediately sets something off within Vegito, as he continues, so it was them. It was a god that sent you. My own sons, slaves to these tyrants, supporting them. After what you know, what these gods did to us all. But Goten, not agreeing, would interrupt. No, Dad, not all gods are the same. The ones who destroyed your Earth were gods of destruction. Kronoa is not like that. She would never... Enough! But unable to hear another word more, Vegito unleashes a thunderous roar as his power uncontrollably bursts from his body. And eventually, this level of power is so strong, the entire landscape of the planet begins to crumble, with both Trunks and Goten watching on in shock as the unexpected increase in power comes from the God Killer. Leading to both of the teenage Saiyans covering themselves from the force of the strong winds and barrage of debris that strikes onto their face and bodies. And with his power now reached its climax and surrounded by a vicious white aura, Vegito lifts up his right fist in anger and yells, I don't want to hear any more about this so-called different god. You children will not be lecturing your father on anything, and especially not on who these gods really are. These gods are all a danger to us, ticking time bombs with far too much power. You can trust in me when I say the entire multiverse will be better without any of their kind. If you choose this side with them over your own, then you traitors will join them in death! The Time Patrol Trunks, though, hearing this, just looks on nervously and thinks, damn it, I knew talking wouldn't be his strong point. His same pride is still there. He's got father in him, alright. as behind the half Saiyan, an image of Vegeta appears. While similarly, perhaps a more panicked and shocked Goten would then think, wow, this energy, it's dark. He sounds a lot more like Vegeta than Goku ever did. Dad, are you even really in there? As in a memorial image of his own father, Son Goku appears behind him. And then suddenly, the Teen Trunks would then appear right beside a surprised Goten, saying, "It's time, Goten. Let's do it!" And instantly, as if they had planned this out, and in perfect synchronicity with each other, the two would silently look back at one another and nod until... Fusion! After getting into the iconic fusion poses we all know. It's good to be back. As suddenly appearing out of a blind light, an adult Gotenks appears, crunching his knuckles and with a smirk that only reminds us of his counterpart Vegito, as he continues, "Now, we'll see who'll listen to who here, Dad." So, are you going to come back with us peacefully? Or are me and you going to have some fun? I don't think I've had a chance to fight either of you as Gotenks before. I wonder who's the stronger fusion. Gotenks! But Vegito at first, when he sees the sudden change, can't help but remain shocked, stuttering as he inquires, "Is that really you? Your clothes, they're totally different. You remind me of Gogeta." But the look of surprise soon then reverts back to one of eagerness, as his Saiyan battle lust comes through and he lets out, "You know, that fusion may have been a cool little trick to use against Majin Buu. But do you really believe that you're going to be able to do anything against me? Time Patrol or not, you two are still just kids compared to me. What on earth do you think will stop me?" Which Gotenks answers first by grabbing onto the blade of destruction beside him and saying, "Well, first off, I'm going to upgrade my sword to a whole lot more powerful one if you don't mind. Before I take it back to Konoha, I just can't resist a few swipes." Pulling it out from the ground with ease, whispering, "There you go. I can already sense the quality of its edge just wielding it." Before a more vicious look then appears on his face as he stares straight at Vegito and lets out, "And then I'm going to power to my new form, a form our dear older brother taught us." Leaving Vegito confused momentarily as he wonders, "A form from your older brother? From Gohan? I guess you mean his ultimate form. That made him about as strong as a Super Saiyan Blue. So with two of you, it'll just be two blues. Hardly anything to be worried about. Don't you at least know Ultra?" But before that sentence could even complete, like father like son, the adult Gotenks unleashes into a crazy frenzy, screaming at the top of his lungs as his muscles bulge and veins begin to protrude from all corners of his face. From a distance, Gotenks' ki begins to warp even the one Vegito showed, as almost instantly the sky changes to dark clouds with thunder and lightning striking everywhere. As in a familiar scene, so too does lava begin to explode from all the surrounding mountains, as if the very core of the planet was becoming unstable. This feeling! But the familiarity doesn't go unnoticed by the God Killer, as Vegito looks on with a stumped look and thinks, thunder, lightning, this power, I've seen this before, is this? But as Vegito contemplates, the transformation of Gotenks continues, as his chest then tightens, his fists clench, and his hair turns a mysterious shade of white while growing out intensely. And just like that, Gotenks reveals himself finally in his beast form, surrounded in blood-red lightning and a mysterious transparent aura that begins to envelop the Blade of Destruction too, as he then lets out, "This is no ultimate form, father. This is elder brother Gohan's strongest form, one he learned from his master Piccolo. He calls it the Beast Form. And I assure you, this will not be an easy fight for you, especially with the first of the five's weapon in my hands. If you want to give up and meet Kronoa, just tell me now, and this all ends without bloodshed. I don't want to have to hurt my own dad." What? Beast form? But Vegito still just can't help but be totally amazed by Gotenks' appearance, and how similar it is to a certain Saiyan he fought previously, as he thinks, "This thing is something Gohan achieved in the future? With the Green Man of all people. But how? Kappa called this same form his final form. Are they one and the same? But regardless, these two are on a totally new level to him. Way stronger and way more experienced, even individually. But now fused, they could actually do something here." But Gotenks, now eager and ready to finish things, with his ever-reaching closer fusion time limit, just lifts his sword straight towards Vegito and commands, "Vegito of Universe 7, timeline number 56378B. The Time Patrol orders your arrest for the grievous tampering of the Order of Time, and the forbidden usage of time-distorting devices. Do you comply, or do we need to use force?" But on hearing this final threat, Vegito's true self then takes over. As with a smirk, he responds, "Seems you two punks are due for a spanking now, aren't you? Acting up for your mother while your father's been away, huh? Well, do your worst, children, because you will not be telling me what to do." Just as I thought! Which instantly sets in motion the battle-thrilled Gotenks as he rushes in at full speed, with his sword drawn, straight aiming for Vegito the God Killer. And almost immediately, with a breathtaking show of speed, Gotenks in his beast form breaks the distance and appears right in front of Vegito, with his sword inches from his face. But seeing this, perhaps as expected, Vegito is shown not caring in the slightest, as he lets out in a face of anger, "Really? Trying to fight me with a sword when I'm unarmed? That's how you choose to fight? Guess without a father figure, you two forgot how to be Saiyans. Good thing I came prepared for trash like you. As instantly in response, Vegito summons the Zamasu Halo immediately on his back, while also in his right hand bringing out his infamous Godslayer scythe, from black, right in front of the stunned into confusion Gotenks. But if you were expecting a sword clash, you'd be disappointed, as straight after Gotenks vanishes as if prepared for this very situation. Before Gotenks quickly reappears then, straight right behind the God Killer with his sword pulled back, ready to swing from his blind spot until... Of course, with the instincts of Vegito, he quickly ducks right under, his face unchanging as he looks at his son's attempt and comments, "What a predictable attack! Did you really think you had me with such a basic move?" But once again, not falling for Vegito's goads, Gotenks doesn't say a word and instead disappears with speed once again. This time reappearing far off in the distance, much to the surprise of Vegito, who comments, "What the? Now you're definitely showing me you've forgotten your Saiyan heritage. Running away already? Come here and fight me, kid!" But as Gotenks stands, he continues to remain hushed, focusing only on his target and seemingly trying to not give away his next move. Vegito, watching on though, just finds the charades from his son laughable, as he says, "What's this now? The silent treatment? I guess with no father figure in your lives, you two started to take a whole lot more after your mothers. Pathetic. Show me your thoughts through battle like a man!" To which the beast Gotenks, with his huge hair, would then lift his sword into the air and coldly say back, "Well, if that's what you really want, Dad, then here you go!" As instantly the younger Fusaiyan then swipes his blade in true Trunks fashion and speed, rapidly in all directions, immediately sending from the blade of destruction slashes of energy that skid across the ground and glide through the air with ridiculous force and speed towards a standing still Vegito. But soon the reason for the motionless state of the God Killer is seen firsthand, as an unimpressed Vegito lets out, "How pathetic! Those blade movements are wasted on that sword. You're a shell of that blade's true master. And Guts would be disgusted right now, I'm sure. Allow me to end this defilement of his keepsake here and now." Leading to Vegito quickly swiping his Godslayer scythe back, before swiping it back into place as if ready to pounce, staying quiet until... "It's time I showed you brats how to really wield a weapon!" And just like that, Ultra Vegito swipes his own Godslayer scythe in all directions, with each of Gotenks' energy slashes now ironically slashed in half themselves, before any could even touch the God Killer. And of course, after dismantling the young Saiyan's attack so easily, nothing but a raucous smile appears on Vegito's face straight after, as he says, "You see? See how pointless it is to try and defeat me, brats? And no less with a weapon you have no right using. At least, I defeated its user. But you have yet to... Huh?" But soon into Vegito's monologue and lecture to his sons, a look of pure puzzlement comes over his face, as when he looks into the distance, he soon realizes Gotenks is nowhere to be seen yet again. A sigh of annoyance then comes over the God Killer, as he looks from side to side and comments, "This again? What's with all the vanishing tricks? Fight me like a Saiyan! I don't care if you two aren't my real sons. My blood still runs through your veins!" And as he continues to stand still, he carries on, "You're only wasting your own time. That fusion of yours only lasts 30 minutes max, and it's probably shortened by whatever that beast form of yours is too. Fight me now, because Because once you defuse, things will not end well. But as Vegito threatens the two, underneath, unbeknownst to him, the ground begins to slightly crack. Eventually being noticed by Vegito until... What?! Suddenly the entire ground beneath the Fusane begins to break completely apart, to the point Vegito begins to lose his footing, as he yells out, "Wait! Don't tell me! Are you two?" Yeah! Eventually leading to the beast Gotenks exploding from the ground, his sword raised straight up, attempting to slice Vegito vertically in half. Son of a... With the God Killer only being able to, just at the last second, move his body from complete damage. As the emotionless Gotenks, staring on, just thinks, "Damn it, I almost got him." As the last of his body leaves the entirety of the ground. And rapidly, in a show of retreat, despite seemingly not being injured at all, Vegito flips back multiple times to land a short distance away. Before the God Killer then remains with his head bowed in an ominous silence, as if waiting to reveal something. Not bad. Not bad at all, punk. And with a short outburst of annoyance, Vegito slowly begins to rise to his feet without a hint of tremble. Until finally, in a shocking sight, the God Killer is shown truly wounded, with a large open gash on his forehead leaking blood into his one remaining white eye, as he grumbles, "Maybe I did underestimate you two. You managed to catch me off guard, even with the power I have now. That is definitely quite something. But I'm afraid that all ends now." While partially pleased with himself, Gotenks stabs his sword into the ground for stability and comments, "So, I did get him. The great Vegito does bleed. And that thing looks like it hurts a lot. I haven't got much time left, but I think I can do this." "Think again, kid." But unwilling to give the young warrior even a semblance of encouragement or self-belief, shockingly the Majin Buu aspect of Vegito begins to do its work, as in a monstrous scene, the open wound of Vegito slowly begins sealing itself, until eventually being completely healed. What? Leaving Gotenks finally now with a mixture of disgust and paralyzing shock as he witnesses the inhuman change in his father, as he just mutters, "What did he just do? His skin, it moved by itself to heal. That's not right. Is that really Dad?" But fueled by rage now, that all his efforts are seemingly going nowhere, the beast Gotenks begins powering up once more, to as far as his limits can allow him, as he screams, "I'm not letting you get away with this! I'm finishing this now!" But Vegito, watching on without any hesitation, would just stare intimidatingly and reply, "Finish what exactly? You do understand this has barely even begun, right? Yet you will be defusing any minute now." To which the angered Gotenks will just grumble back, "All I need is one more minute to take you back anyway." Really? How about now? As suddenly, Vegito then turns into his Super Saiyan 1 form, completely changing the landscape of the battle as he now decides to use a fraction more of his true power. Super Saiyan 1? You've got to be kidding me. You really are underestimating me, aren't you? Well, that's no problem because... But as Gotenks yells, they're soon cut short when below him an unexpected sight appears. As with an unjustifiably evil and demonic look, Vegito appears right below Gotenks, looking up as he says, "Quit with the big talk, kid. You need to actually be strong to back those words up." Angering the younger Saiyan to push through with his swing, but... before any kind of attack can even be completed by Gotenks, with intense speed and power, Vegito launches his fist straight into the gut of his son, causing him to instantly let go of his blade at the same time. And immediately, as if having the energy zapped straight out of him, Gotenks reverts back to his base form, stunned in the face and unable to say a thing. While Vegito just callously and just as quickly grabs onto the dropped blade of destruction before it even touches the ground. And with what seems like the last bit of his strength, Gotenks mutters with one eye open, How are you this strong as just a Super Saiyan? Before Gotenks can't help but grab onto his stomach in pain, and then fall to his knees before his father. Vegito, looking down though, would then coldly explain, "Becoming a Super Saiyan increases my base power by 50 times. You really think I needed all of that just to beat you? I've hardly used even 1% of it. I told you, you're still a kid in my eyes, Time Patrol or not." Before instantly, Vegito then swings the Blade of Destruction down with force straight towards Gotenks, perhaps in a cold and silent murder of his own son. But when we actually see, Vegito stops the blade just centimeters away from the Time Patroller's neck, leaving Gotenks to just stare in the face of death with a nervous and sweaty look. Vegito, looking down, would also show his last ounce of mercy and then let out, "Listen, punk, I get you have a job to do, but I'm on a mission here, and I haven't got the time or patience here to be dealing with your little gang interrupting me every 5 seconds. You two have made it clear you aren't my sons, if I remember correctly. So answer wisely to my next question, as it will decide whether you live or die. Will you stop chasing after me if I let you go here? You clearly are no match for me, even while fused, and never will be. So why not value your lives and stop with this ridiculous pipe dream of ever stopping me?" But in true Saiyan fashion, perhaps taking after his own father, Gotenks just smiles and replies, "Ha! You must have forgot who our dads are. Goku and Vegeta. You'd think they'd ever give up? I have a duty to protect the multiverse from people like you. No matter how many times it takes, I'll keep coming for you. So if you want to stop me, you better kill me. Ha! Like a real Saiyan." "You insolent little brat!" Immediately bringing a face of annoyance and anger to Vegito's face, as he finally then says, "Fine, I tried reasoning with you, but your fate is sealed now." As suddenly out of nowhere, Using his free hand, Vegito blasts a strange pink beam from his fingertip that immediately strikes Gotenks, surrounding him in a peculiar pink electrical aura until... in a poof of air, Gotenks is suddenly then transformed to a lone chocolate bar on the ground, with Vegito having of course used the dessert beam of the late Majin Buu to do so. And having regrettably done so, Vegito would look solemnly down at his now inanimate foe and just let out, "I don't care what you say. You two are my sons, in this timeline and the next. I can't kill you, but if you won't stop misbehaving, then you will just have to return to where you belong and become part of me once again." Stabbing his sword into the ground to sheath it, before beginning to then reach out his hand towards the chocolate bar, saying as he does so, "Let's see if you taste better than you fight." Eventually inching closer and closer to the point of just being nanoseconds away until... suddenly, a mysterious foreign foot slams down onto the chocolate bar, shattering it into pieces before Vegito. What? Leaving the God Killer in a moment of complete shock to stare up the leg of the assailant and meet his eyes with someone he and the rest of us had never seen before. And shockingly standing there before Vegito is yet another strange masked man, more sadistic and evil looking than Guts ever did, clad in what seems like samurai armor with long flowing silver hair. Staring with an emotionless creepy mask on, the figure would then let out, "My